Well, he doesn't, it's very, very important to realize that he doesn't need a concession on Tier 6. The unions don't have a right to collectively bargain pension issues. Pension issues are settled by law outside of collective bargaining in New York State. CSEA's permission is not required to do a new pension tier. In fact, I think the most important thing the governor can do is make it clear that he views pension reform as an issue that does not require union checkoff. Because the fact of the matter is, if you do any kind of significant pension reform, or you attempt to propose any kind of significant pension reform, you will not get the union's agreement to do it. The unions will only agree to insignificant pension changes. And at a certain point, to give us the kind of significant pension reform we need, our elected officials from the governor on down have to be willing to acknowledge that, in fact, this is something that is not collectively bargained. Under state law, for more than 35 years, it has not been collectively bargained. And our elected officials have to step forward and handle this on their own without seeking permission.
And on the matter of the $450 million in workforce concessions, this contract achieves a fraction of that.
Right.
Is he on target to get that money?
Well, I mean, I can only say what they tell me. I mean, the governor's budget staff claims they can get $450 million in savings this year, but they acknowledge not simply from these contracts. I mean, PEF and CSEA together generate barely $150 million in savings, and the governor's target was $450 million. In order to get $450 million, they have to do a significant amount of headcount reduction through attrition, people voluntarily leaving the payroll and not being replaced, which has already happened to a great extent before this year. They also need to impose some of the same contract concessions that CSEA has agreed to on other collective bargaining units and groups of workers that have not agreed to it yet. So I still, I still kind of dubious about them getting a full $450 million in savings in the current fiscal year. We can certainly ask them to prove it at the end of the fiscal year. On the other hand, I think that he's got significantly more than $450 million in savings in the out years, the future years of this contract deal as they overlap with the financial plan. And again, the most significant recurring savings that happens year after year has to do with the employee contribution to health insurance premiums, which will increase for employees depending on their salaries.
And just to get back to PEF, lastly, to get back to PEF, why are they different than CSEA? And again, how does this, how could this vote impact what PEF may or may not do come September?
Well, it's worth noting that PEF is a smaller union, but actually their agreement to this contract would produce more savings because PEF members who work generally in professional and scientific technical titles are more highly paid and better educated than CSEA members. So they have more on the line. More of them will be paying larger amounts in addition for their health insurance. And so there have been reports that there is more resistance to the contract proposal in the ranks of PEF in general, and I think this has been noticed by people who cover this issue and write about it also, that PEF members seem to be a bit more truculent, a bit more convinced that they shouldn't be making any kind of concessions. I also think that the threat of layoffs perhaps means a little bit less to PEF members than it does to CSEA members. Therefore, I think that PEF may be a heavier lift based on some of the news reports that are coming out of from people who've talked to PEF members. But I think PEF is actually really important and pivotal because, again, PEF is actually slightly more in savings than CSEA. And the PEF membership and changes in the deal for PEF will generate more recurring savings down the road than the CSEA deal does to a certain extent.